Hi folks, those of you who watch my channel will know that I have a fair collection of British Barlow knives. It's probably my favourite pattern. Barlow is known as quintessential American knife, but actually it was invented in, I think, about 1670 by a guy called Obedia Barlow in Sheffield, and throughout from there through to towards the end of the 19th century, so about 1890, most Barlow knives in America were manufactured in Sheffield and then exported. With the introduction of heavy tariffs in 1890, the American the exports from Britain started to slow up, and it was probably the beginning of the end of the century-long decline in the Sheffield knife makers. Later we would lose markets like India and so forth as the empire kind of collapsed, but originally it was a British knife exported to America. But of course Americans from 1890 or so really took over the manufacture of these knives, and so I've got a couple of American ones. And then as the American knife as American knife makers started to decline, I've got a couple that have been imported to America in more recent times. So anyway, this one first is a buck, which is in a saw cut Delrin. I assume it's probably 1960s, 70s, possibly even slightly later than that. It's still made in America, which is not all buck knives are now. They still make knives like the 110 and so forth in America, but a lot of their patterns, like the canoe, I've got a canoe that's made by them, but it's Chinese made and it's a bit shoddy. These are actually really quite nicely made knives. Fit and finish is pretty good. The only slightly dodgy part is cut-offs. They're not on the backspace, or back springs are not quite even, but they're not that far off. Centering is pretty good. The main blade is slightly off to the right, but it's not rubbing or anything. It's absolutely fine. They're nice and sharp, which can't always be said of some of the British knives these days. These look like, although this knife is, it's been around the block a bit, it's never been sharpened. It looks like it's, as new, and actually it came to me as new in the box. About a couple of years back. I got it from the Apostle P, actually, in America. Now, it's a nice and sharp, tang markings, buck, USA. None of this Chinese stuff. So it's a nice sort of slightly satin finished blades. So nice and sharp, clip point, long pull. The only thing I don't really like about this knife is it has this shield, which is a hammer hammering a knife. Oops. I prefer my Barlows just to be stamped on the bolsters and not have shields, but other than that, it's actually quite a nice little knife. It's a sort of plain working pocket knife. It's rather than a fancy sort of collector's piece. Half stops though, which is nice. Brass liners, nickel silver bolsters. I'm pretty sure it's a stainless blade. It's not marked as to what it is, but I'm pretty sure that they are. So that's one. Now I've got a couple of Case knives. Now Case do their vault knives, and then their vault knives are a pattern that they bring out each year. They choose one pattern, they bring it out, and they make different variations on that pattern. So this year it's the mini hunter, the little hunter knives, little tiny ones. I've got a couple of those. They're nice. But last year, 2019, it was the Barlow, and they pulled this one out of the vault, and they made various of these. I bought just two of them. They're both twin blades. Interestingly, the blades are the main blade at the front and the secondary blade at the back. which struck me as slightly unusual. I don't know if it really is unusual, but that's the way that they did them. This one is the tribal jig bone, and it has the case double X. Double X, incidentally, comes from, I think it's like the unexcelled comes from the old IXL. Well, one of the old trademarks in Sheffield at Ibison is the double sharp. So it's the two sort of like hashtags, but the double sharp of the musical world. So two sharps, I think, is a key of D, but I'm maybe wrong in that. I think one sharp is F and two sharps is D. Don't know after that, but I think that's where this comes from. It's because it's a double sharp again, is the idea. As I say, it's tribal jig bone, which is a nice purple colour. I don't know how well that'll come over in the thing. Now these knives came from Slip Joint Guy. Now James is a really good guy. He's given up on doing case knives because he was so fed up with having to send so many back. But it does mean that when he sends knives to me, these are, pretty much perfect. Which I'm impressed with that. There's no risk that you're going to have to send them back yourself. Unfortunately, I'll say he got fed up with doing case knives and it doesn't do it anymore. So, in terms of blades, we have the case stamp on the tang there with just one little dot, one little X, which means that it was 2019 make. That pattern started in 2010, and then it's lost a dot each year until we get down to just one, 2019, and we've got a new style for 2020 and 10 dots. Nice secondary blade which has on it the model numbers and SS to tell you that it's stainless steel. Nothing on the other side. And again, reasonably sharp. Yeah, if you want that model number. Yeah, you can pause it if you want and read that. So it's a nice knife. Half stops again. I think most Barlows tend to have half stops. So brass liners, I should have said. Brass spacer between the two springs, and just a nice knife. I like that one, so I got another one also from James. This is I think it's Stag Bone. It's supposed to look like stag, but it's bone. With the case, you see that one I like because it doesn't have a shield. This one has a case shield, but it's not stamped on the bolsters. So it is what it is. Again, same blade, same tang stamp on there. And the pattern number if you want to have a look at that. So I like these. I mean, they're nice little knives, but I just bought two. They did number. They also did some with spear point blades, single bladed, various things. Just a couple of others that I've got. The American knife industry for traditionals kind of died away a bit. I'd like to think that, companies like Case will still survive. GUC obviously is sort of thriving, but a lot of the knives coming to America now are coming from China. So this here is a Rough Rider. This one came from Tobias. Knife Chats with Tobias sent me this one. Again, it's a clip blade. We got the Rough Rider horseshoe tang stamp on the back. We have the ubiquitous, I was going to say traditional, but it's not really traditional, is it? 440 razor sharp steel. Wow, razor sharp. And we've got the model number, and let's see if we can get that better. Yeah, model number and China. And on the, should have said on the bolsters, we've got lined bolsters, and the Lucky Horseshoe Rough Rider, and a secondary pen blade, which, like the buck, is in front of the main blade, with again the horseshoe tang stamp. These match strike nicks, I don't really like the match strike nicks. They're just an excuse for things to get jammed in them, but there we are. That's what it is. Now another one that's come in is another. This is a traditional American name, but again now made like Rough Rider by or for Smoky Mountain Knife Works in China, and this is the Marbles brand. These are made in the same factory as the Rough Riders. This particular one, as you can see on the blade, says ram horn. This is genuine ram's horn. I've always wanted to get another one of these and rub it down and see if we can make it that nice lustrous ram's horn. I suspect it probably wouldn't work, but it would be interesting to try. Nice bolsters. You got a lined bolster with a pinched bolster. Again, you've got a shield, which I don't really like, but you know, it is what it is. And then there's a secondary blade, which is the pen blade. I don't think these are as nice as the case ones, although Rough Rider and Marbles quality has improved, you know, dramatically over the last few years, and these are nicely well-made knives, reasonably well finished. There's a very slight bit of gapping on the back of that, but nothing desperate. I think I like the case ones better. And then just one final one I want to show you. Again, I mean, this is produced for the American market, but produced in China. And this is another Rough Rider. This is the Granddaddy Patton. I would love to have some American-made Granddaddy Patton knives, and maybe one day I shall find some. Again, we've got the lined bolster. We've got the horseshoe shield. We also have an RR square shield on the handle, which I don't really like. Now this one is a ram's horn bone, so it's bone that's been cut to make it look like ram's horn. Really, not sure it does, but it's not an unattractive finish. I quite like it. I'm not going to complain about it. I just don't think it does what it says it does. Just doesn't seem right to me. Anyway, this is the Granddaddy Patton. Again, half stop. Again, this one came from Slip Joint Guy, so again it's pretty flawless. I got two of these and gave one to Paddy Potato Peelers. His one isn't quite as good as this one, but it's still not bad. We've got what I don't like, and I should have mentioned it with the other one. We've got a frosted blade. This is ram's horn bone, so ram apostrophe s horn bone. The Marbles one just said ram horn without the apostrophe and the s, but again frosted, and again the match strike nail nick, which, as I say, I'm not blown away on. These are big knives. 440 razor sharp, model number, and China on the tang. Nice knives though. I like this. I mean, it's almost silly large, but I've got big hands, so it works well for me. I like these as a sort of letter opener type knife. I can't carry one of these in the UK because it's just too big, but it's relatively easy to use. and as I say, makes a good letter opener. So I'm happy with that. So these are my American and made for America Barlows. I do have one other American Barlow, but it's really an electrician's knife, but in the Barlow pattern. And I have a couple of Boca Barlows from Europe. The rest of mine are all Sheffield made ones. But anyway, there we are. If you like this stuff, please give it a thumbs up, and remember, if you want to see more, to subscribe and ring the bell if you want notifications. So thank you very much. Bye.